In this video, I'm going to talk about Google Performance Max campaigns, what they are, how they work, what you should expect in terms of results. I'm also going to speculate as to why I think Google created this campaign type in the first place. That context might help as you craft your Performance Max strategy. Before we dive in, though, 10 seconds about me and my company. I'm Brett Curry. I'm the CEO of OMG Commerce. We're a digital marketing agency. We've had the privilege of working with some pretty amazing e-commerce brands like Boom by Cindy Joseph, Native, and many others. We're a team of 60 and growing rapidly. We spend multiple millions per month on Google Ads. And I only share that because I want you to know that what I'm going to lay out here today is based on real campaigns, real strategies, real clients in the real world so that you can trust what you're about to see. So let's dive in. What is Performance Max? Well, if you're an e-commerce brand, Performance Max is based on smart shopping campaigns. There's a smart shopping campaign component, but it goes beyond that with YouTube inventory, video inventory, Discover ads, and even search. And really, this is one campaign that allows you to reach all of these Google channels with a single campaign. So shopping, Gmail, search, Discover, display, maps even. Where before you'd have to create a separate campaign for each of those channels. Now it's one campaign to hit all of those channels. And so is this Google trying to take over the world? Is this Google trying to create the ultimate black box? What's Google trying to do here exactly with Performance Max? Well, a couple of thoughts that we have, and this is speculation, but I think it's accurate. One, Google's trying to take advantage of unsold inventory, right? So we've been running YouTube campaigns, YouTube ads now, for longer than just about anybody else that I know. And as I speak at events and talk to e-commerce brands, most of them are not running YouTube campaigns, but they are spending a lot on Facebook ads. And so there's all this unsold inventory on YouTube, but also the Google Display Network. There are even less people taking advantage of the Google Display Network. And the Google Display Network covers like 90% of the web. So there's almost unlimited ad inventory there for Google to use, and they want you to use it. And most people don't know how to use it, so enter Performance Max and machine learning. Google says, we gotcha. Just give us your assets. We'll find customers for you. I also believe this is the perfect environment, or Google's trying to create the perfect environment for machine learning. Sundar Pichai said years ago that Google is now an AI-first company. And this campaign type, where the machine can just go wild on all channels and audience signals and really go and try to find new customers for you, it's the perfect environment for Google's machine learning. Also, I believe it's so that Google can better compete with Facebook. Like I said, most of the e-commerce brands we talk to, they're advertising heavily on Facebook and likely less so on YouTube or the Google Display Network. Part of that is because Facebook is a little easier to set up, right? One campaign, Facebook, Instagram. Google's trying to say, hey, we can do one better, one campaign, all Google channels. And so they're saying, let's go. So where does this fit? Where does Performance Max fit within your Google Ads strategy? Well, a couple things to keep in mind. One, it does replace smart shopping campaigns. Maybe you're an advertiser that loves smart shopping campaigns. Unfortunately, it's curtains for smart shopping. Performance Max is here. Performance Max is stealing the show. It can complement standard shopping campaigns. So if you still like to run standard shopping, which we love standard shopping still, Performance Max can complement it. It does not replace YouTube. So like I said, we're one of the largest spenders on YouTube ads. And if you're running successful YouTube-only campaigns, don't replace them. Performance Max isn't going to take over. Performance Max is really there to ideally complement and augment what you're doing on YouTube. So it doesn't replace standard shopping campaigns. If you don't do it right, though, it will start to cannibalize some of the traffic from standard shopping campaigns. Ideally, you'd have standard shopping and Performance Max targeting different products. And if you do that, then the two can live in harmony and work together and both grow even in the same account. It does not replace search campaigns and does not replace your branded search campaigns. However, it will try to take some of your branded search campaigns, at least that's what we've seen in our experience. It will try to take some of that branded search traffic if you don't add brand negatives, which we highly recommend. I'll talk about that more in a minute. If you have a solid remarketing campaign structure, remarketing on Google Display Network and on YouTube, keep it. Performance Max won't completely replace that. Again, it will just augment it. So what Google has said, and this is what we've seen in practice for the most part, is Performance Max will not compete with your other campaigns. It will not drive up your CPCs by campaigns bidding against one another. Google will look at your account and determine which campaign is most likely to get the click based on ad rank, and that's what's going to get the impression. So you can run Performance Max next to your other campaigns. Now, something really cool that was kind of debuted or became popular with smart shopping campaigns, two things really. One is dynamic remarketing. We're all pretty familiar with this, right? You're on an e-commerce store, clicking on certain products you don't purchase. Now you cruise the web, you're on some sites that are part of the Google Display Network, or you're on YouTube, and bam, you see an ad for those products you were just looking at while you were browsing. Dynamic remarketing, it's part of Performance Max as well. Another thing, though, that a lot of people did not know about is called dynamic prospecting. And this is where, let's face it, Google knows everything about you, right? Google knows what you're searching for. Google can tell by your search patterns what you're likely to buy, likely to do, likely to go, all of those things, your political affiliation, just based on your search behavior, right? So Google now also is looking at dynamic prospecting. So based on what you're searching, Google's going to say, you're likely in the market for cookware, or you're in the market for athletic sneakers, right? So now we're going to start showing you YouTube ads, display ads, shopping ads, search ads for that product category. Dynamic prospecting, very powerful, and Google's pretty good at this. So in the old days, right, the winning formula for marketing, and I've been in marketing a long time, is, right message to the right market with the right media, right? And all of this, us as advertisers, we were in control of, and we were picking this. Right message, right media, right market, all of that. Now it's kind of becoming a different formula, right? Still the right message, and we're in charge of the message in terms of the components of the message. But then it's more about the right signals. And are we feeding the machine learning algorithm the right data and the right information? And are we giving it everything it needs to succeed? Are we giving fuel to the fire so that machine learning can really take off? And so I want to talk about a few things that are different in Performance Max campaigns that you won't find in really any other campaign type. The language is a little different and the way things function are a little bit different. So the first thing is you're not adding audiences to Performance Max campaigns. You're giving the campaign audience signals. So what does that mean? Here's an example. This is a client of ours, Overtone. Shout out to Ezra Firestone. This is where you're giving Google audience signals. So this is an asset group. More about that in a second. These are the audience signals. So we layered in some purchasers. So we're giving Google our purchase lists and our converter lists. We're also giving Google things like in-market audiences and custom audiences and things like that. But if you see that note in the lower right hand there, Google will take those inputs and they're using them as signals, not as the only form of targeting, just so that Google can say, I think I understand who your customer is. But machine learning, we're going to take that, we're going to expand upon it, we're going to go out and find new customers for you. So anything you give to Google as an audience, it's just a signal. Google's going to go beyond that, expand, search for new customers and new prospects for you. Now, asset groups versus ad groups. We're all used to ad groups if you've been in the Google Ads world for a long time. But now with Performance Max, you have what's called asset groups. And so asset groups are really a collection of assets and audience signals and URLs. And this is what Google wants. So you don't have to have all of these. There's kind of a minimum and a maximum here. But you do need text, right? Because Google will use this text to populate search ads, to add text to dynamic remarketing or dynamic display ads. Of course, it needs images for display ads on display, discovery, Gmail. And then it does want a video. So you can kind of see the minimum and maximum here. You have to have a final URL, got to have at least 3 headlines, 1 long headline, 2 descriptions, 1 business name, 1 call to action. Needs several images, right? Because Google really wants to lean in to display with these. And then you don't have to upload a video. You don't have to add a video to your Performance Max campaign. However, Google does something kind of sneaky. If you don't upload a video, they'll create one for you. And let me tell you, they're just as spectacular as you might guess. Google's going to take your images and create a slideshow of sorts, all auto-generated, all AI-driven, and they're terrible. And so you want to upload a video because you want to avoid Google's auto-generated video. And so this is then what asset groups look like. And this, again, is for Overtone. So we upload up to 20 images, upload a logo, upload videos, upload headlines. Then Google's going to give you a preview of what these ads look like. So this is actually a display ad that would show up on YouTube, in the YouTube mobile app specifically. This is a search ad, again, pulled from Performance Max, not pulled from a search campaign. This is what display could look like. This is Gmail, both the closed look at Gmail, so how it would appear in your inbox, and then how that Gmail ad would appear if you opened it. So all these asset groups, it's a collection of assets, collection of audience signals, so the machine can go wild and find the right customers for you. And then here's a look at YouTube in that asset group. Now, in addition to this, Google also now calls listing groups your group of products rather than product groups. But other than the name, everything else is the same as it is for Google Shopping campaigns. It's a list of products, just called a listing group instead of a product group. So what are we seeing here? Let's talk about early results for Performance Max. Well, the good news is we're seeing really good results. We're seeing results that are comparable to Google Shopping or comparable to YouTube if you lean into YouTube for your campaigns. And we've seen campaigns shoot from $0 to $10,000 a day while hitting targets, whether that's a CPA target or ROAS target, very quickly, within weeks, spending this kind of money. Now, obviously, that might not be your budget or might not be your goal, but these can ramp up quickly. Here's a look at an actual campaign. Pretty short time period. This is one that scaled pretty rapidly. 140,000 in spend, generated 275 almost in conversion value, about a 1.95 ROAS. Now, that might not sound like a good number for you. This is for a subscription business. And so this was quite profitable for them because this was just on the first order and they know they're going to get multiple orders from here on out. Now, what's interesting is you can't always tell where clicks are coming from, but there's a few things you can look at to really know where your clicks are coming from. And one is zooming into this view where you can see interactions, clicks, and engaged views. Interactions are really going to come from either display or YouTube. Clicks could be from any type of ad, right? It's just if someone clicks on an ad, standard, typical stuff. Engaged views, that's where you can see if someone watched 10 seconds or more of your video and converted, they'll show up in that engaged view area. So if you've got a lot of conversions coming from interactions and engaged views, you know that your campaign is really leaning into YouTube and display discovery. If you've got a lot of clicks and not many interactions and not many engaged views, then you know it's probably more on the shopping or search side of things. Now, you can also dig into your listing group and see what kind of activity your listing group is getting. And what's interesting here is this is the same campaign that I showed you a minute ago that spent $140,000 over this time period, but only about 3,500 or thereabouts actually went to a listing group. So we know that the vast majority of this campaign actually went to display and discovery and YouTube, which is a really interesting thing because some people may have told you that Performance Max is really just smart shopping, expanded a little bit. It can be, but Performance Max can really lean into any of those channels where it finds results. And so a couple of other interesting things with Performance Max is you do get some insights. Now, there's some things that are hidden, but some things that are pretty cool. So this was for a pretty big client, and I had to mark out part of this. But basically, it's going to show, hey, searches for how to blank, and then Home Depot is a competitor of one of our clients, has increased recently, right? So maybe consider leaning into that. Also, as Google looks at your campaigns, they're going to say, hey, you know what? People that are converting in your campaign, they are also in these audiences. These are audiences that you may want to target with your other campaigns. And this is interesting. This was for an outdoor company, not really related to any of these products that are listed here, but it is outdoor related. And so these were pretty brilliant audience insights that we're able to get and use in other campaigns. Google will also give you some auction insights, some competitive intel. This is for Overtone. And they're saying, hey, your position above rate has increased for Sally Beauty. So it's going to show you some competitive intel. It's going to show you a week over week comparison very quickly and easily. You can kind of unpack that. So what are a few pro tips? What are a few pro tips that you need to do as you launch these campaigns? or if you're just looking to take these campaigns to the next level. The first one is you need to add brand negatives. Now, right now, you can't do that on your own. You have to talk to your Google rep, but a Google rep can do this. They can add a negative list, or they can just add whatever negatives you give them. If you don't do this, Performance Max will lean in pretty heavily to branded search. It'll start getting traffic for your branded keywords. And so if you don't do this, you may glance at your Performance Max campaign and think, that's stunning, that's amazing results, but a lot of it could be coming from branded terms. Also, watch your micro conversions. So we like to add purchase conversions, add to cart conversions, maybe account sign up conversions. Maybe you're downloading guides or getting email signups and you add a conversion action there. If you look at ROAS in a Performance Max campaign, it is based on all conversion value. I know that may be technical. Skip it if you're not interested in getting that technical, but just keep that in mind. When it shows the ROAS column in a Performance Max, it's actually all conversion value. So that includes your micro conversions. So keep that in mind as you're watching performance. Now, a couple of other really cool things with Performance Max is you can bid up on new customers. So you can tell Google, hey, we want to pay extra, or we want to bid more aggressively if it's a new customer. Now, you have to upload your customer list or your converters list so that Google knows who's a current customer and who's not, but then Google will bid up on new customers. You can also, so this is one for Boom by Cindy Joseph, where we said, hey, it's worth an extra $55 if it's a new customer, and so we give Google that additional signal. Now, there are also campaigns that allow you to just go after new customers, and that's one of the things I love about Performance Max. If you set this up the right way, Performance Max can be really good at accelerating your growth, taking existing campaigns that are doing well and just finding new customers, finding new audiences, finding new places to put your ads. And if you can give Google the right signals and kind of shape this and frame this in the right way, you can start to scale and you can start to grow in new ways. More to come. I'm gonna release more videos on Performance Max, but that will do it for this one. Hey, if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe on this YouTube channel. Also, I host two podcasts focused on e-commerce. If you're in e-commerce, one is called Spicy Curry. It's a podcast mini-series, just features big names in e-commerce like Ezra Firestone, Mickey Agrawal, Nick Shackelford, Justin Brook. And then a longtime podcast, been going since 2017, is E-Commerce Evolution. We talk about what's new and what's next in e-commerce. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit like if you enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you soon.